Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into the Photoshop Café podcast. It's hosted by Mustafa Thahabi, and it seems like it's really become this go-to resource for design professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more than just, how to use the software.
Right.
It feels much more like maybe a masterclass in actual graphic design strategy.
Strategy, yeah, that's a good word for it.
And what really strikes me is how it sort of forces you to think bigger, beyond just the pixels on the screen. The way the content's put together, it's very deliberately organized around these 3 pillars.
3 pillars, okay.
Yeah, designed to help designers with their commercial value and their creative side, too. It mixes that professional guidance with this really quite approachable style.
And that intentional structure, that seems key, doesn't it? It's not just random tips thrown together.
No, not at all. It works more like a system.
A system, right?
Yeah.
Making the knowledge feel, I guess, immediately useful, actionable.
Exactly. So let's start with that first pillar then.
Let's do it.
It's career development. And they really lay out a kind of employment roadmap.
Okay.
What's insightful here, I think, is how they explicitly talk about the difference, between the skills you need for an entry-level job.
Just executing tasks, maybe?
Right. Versus the strategic thinking required at a senior level. It's a different mindset entirely.
So it's pushing past just the technical stuff.
Yeah.
The sources suggest the podcast teaches you how to link your creative decisions directly to, like, business goals, KPIs.
Precisely. Things like how you actually defend a visual strategy, say, in a tough client meeting.
Yeah, high stakes.
Or even just aligning design costs with the project budget. That kind of deep commercial understanding, that's what they frame as that senior strategic vision.
Okay, that makes sense. So you have the career map.
But knowing the map isn't quite enough, is it? You need the fuel to actually move up.
The inspiration.
Exactly. Which brings us very neatly to pillar number 2, creative inspiration.
Right.
And this whole section is really about tackling those creative blocks, getting unstuck.
How so?
By, actively brainstorming, coming up with unique projects specifically for your portfolio, and just constantly building that body of work.
So the focus is really on intentional creation. Like, your portfolio isn't just a gallery of past stuff.
Not at all. They treat it like a dynamic tool, a proof of concept.
Okay.
Something you tailor specifically to land the next job you want, not just the one you have now.
Thinking ahead. That's smart.
And all this preparation, this inspiration, it leads right into the 3rd pillar, which is maybe the most practical, real-world application.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road then. Theory meeting reality.
Pretty much. Commercial reality, high stakes, client expectations, all of that.
And this is the stuff that's often hard to get insight into, right?
Yeah.
The behind-the-scenes detail.
Exactly. And the podcast apparently gives you these detailed looks at actual projects.
Like what? Any examples stand out?
Well, the source material mentions a visual roll poster designed for Tommy Hilfiger in Berlin.
Okay, Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah.
Big name.
Right, and it shows how you take a global brand, but then you have to carefully adapt it for a very specific local market. Berlin, in this case.
Nuance is key there.
Definitely. And then it scales up, too. They talked about set design work for a movie, The Torch of LM.
Set design.
Yeah.
How does that connect for a graphic designer?
Well, it shows how visual branding principles, things like hierarchy, color theory, how they have to work on a massive scale, influencing a physical cinematic space. It's sort of the ultimate test, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see that.
Of that.
Taking abstract concepts into a huge physical environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the host, Mustafa Thahabi, he frames all this through his own experience, like a mentor.
Yeah, he acts as this expert guide, grounding these big examples in his own, authentic professional background, which makes it relatable.
But hang on, if the audience is so broad, you mentioned juniors, mid-level, senior leaders, even creatives from other fields.
Right.
How can the advice be deep enough for, say, a senior strategist, but still relevant for a junior just starting out?
Right.
Doesn't it risk getting a bit watered down?
That's actually a really interesting point, and the answer seems to lie in the delivery.
The delivery.
Yeah. They create this conversational, almost cozy cafe vibe. You even hear coffee brewing sounds sometimes, apparently.
Oh, okay. Setting a mood.
Exactly. It makes these potentially complex strategic ideas feel much more accessible, but the content itself is layered.
Layered how?
So a junior designer might pull out the basic execution framework from an example, while a senior designer listening to the same story might focus on the strategic justification, the client management aspect.
So it serves different needs simultaneously within the same content.
That seems to be the idea. It hits the whole professional spectrum at once.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. This deep dive shows the Photoshop Cafe podcast isn't just casual chat. It's quite a sophisticated, really structured resource.
Highly structured, yeah.
Efficiently blending that career development piece, the creative fuel, and then the really crucial high-stakes application.
It covers a lot of ground, very deliberately. Which leads me to a final thought, something for you listening to consider.
Okay.
Given how much the show emphasizes connecting your creative work to that whole employment ladder, from entry-level execution right up to senior-level strategy,
Yeah.
how does thinking about those future senior requirements, like knowing how to justify your design based on business goals or how to defend your choices, how does that fundamentally change the way you brainstorm ideas for your very next personal portfolio project, even right now?